Hello everyone, welcome back to a new replay cast. Today we're going to be having a look at a series, best of three between, in the top right spawning as the blue Zerg is going to be Serral, and on the bottom left spawning as the red Protoss, it's going to be Trap. A legendary game already, or a legendary series, as I believe Trap right now is probably the best Protoss in the last two season finals of the DreamHack Masters. He managed to get to the grand final of the season finals, if that still makes any sense to all of y'all. Who's opening with a gas first? We'll get into that later. Serral, I don't think he's won a single season. Maybe won the first seasonal finals. It's so difficult to remember who won everything because there's so many tournaments just after each other, and I can't quite remember. But yeah, he's obviously a force to be reckoned with, even though he lost the Europe one, and actually got third there. I believe lost to Clem and Rainer. So definitely out for revenge here. Now his opponent is going to be Trap, who's, like I said, starting with a gas first, indicating, of course, that this is going to be a no-scout Protoss player. Now, the reason why that is because you want to be getting those two workers in gas as soon as possible, which is really that big gas income that you require. And let me just elaborate a little bit on that. If you take a gas and you have two workers in it, these two workers will be giving you about 71% of the total gas mining that is possible in that geyser. So the first two workers actually give a higher percentage of return on investment than the third worker, who in total is only going to get like maybe 29% or something like that. While the first two probes get about 35% of that total gas mining. So ideally you'd have, if you have 4 guys mining and gas and you have 2 geysers, that's why often you see pro players split them 2-2 rather than going 3-1. Where you're like, well, it's easier to rally into that one later on, but it's better to have 2-2. It gives you more gas mining, and it's a significant difference, especially if you're playing a build like a Stargate opener. Very common to come from these gas first, because you can afford an Adept and a Stargate straight away at the same time, and also a very fast warp gate. So what we'll see here is, in my opinion, is we're gonna see Adept, Warp Gate, and then still a Stargate. Please? No, oh, Twilight. Okay, that's odd. I don't... So, with a Twilight, you can do very fast DT drops if you do a no-scout and gas first. When I say no-scout, by the way, that doesn't mean he's not sending a probe out, but it means he's sending a probe out after the timing for 12 pools and 16 pools, which means that often you die against 12 and 16 pool, but you're gonna be fine against most other openers, like maybe against a proxy hatch you're still fine, or like a 2-base roach push, you can still scout that. But this is a late scout and often referred to as a no scout, at least by many of my friends. I'm not sure if other people, I don't know how the Koreans call it. Maybe they call it a Cyber Core Scout or a Nexus Scout, whatever you want. Anyway, we're most likely going to be going into a Dark Shrine here. I mean, if it's not Stargate, then it almost has to be a... Oh, it's Glaives. Of course it is. Ah, he pulled out of gas. I should have seen that. Pulling out of gas is a big indicator of Glaives. Now, it's very, very rare to see Glaives without a natural block. So I'm just a little bit surprised. And not just a little bit, I'm actually extremely surprised. It is very, very uncommon to see Glaives without a natural block, because Zerg can just wall this off, not mine from their third base, and what are you going to do with your Glaive Adept? Well, not very much is the answer. First, Roach Warren. Well, hopefully the only Roach Warren. Roach Warren is already coming down here for Serral. Look at this vision, by the way. This is typical top Zerg behavior, you know, it's disgusting. You look at this and there's no way you're gonna get anything out. I mean, this side is covered with the Overlord, and this is all covered with these Zerglings just patrolling like their life depends on it. Absolutely pathetic. You just want to shoot them if you're a Protoss player. Now, your Prism gets spotted. Spores do start, and the thing, this is one of these very tight Zerg things. Very often what they do is they start Spores, and then when they see the first warp in is Adepts, they'll cancel these Spores. So he sees this. Does he cancel the spore? No, he finishes it. Okay, well, I've been lied to. Zergs apparently aren't as tight as that. This first warp in is at a relatively late timing, honestly. I'm a bit surprised by it. But Serral has a good opener. I mean, his roaches, well, single roach coming out. First queen is not going to fall. Cancels the first Glaive Adept. It's only 8 against such a high number of links. You're just gonna bleed out the depths. There's 6 queens as well. Creep spread is looking hella healthy. And we have a third gas on the way here as well. 4 more adepts at 5 minutes. He finally pushes up to those 12 adepts. That can be a lot faster. This is an extremely late timing, honestly. Now, the map is Pillars of Gold, which does give you less minerals than other maps because of how the minerals are located in the main base. I almost feel like that should not have been a cancel, but obviously Trap does know better than me. He's way more experienced with this build. I'm more of a Stargate player myself. Another warp in, a little bit of a fight here. Roach count isn't big enough yet to do any real damage to these adepts, and Trap is honestly doing a really good job. And even though he isn't killing that much, I mean, he takes off a queen and a roach every now and then, the one thing he is doing is he's making sure that no extra drones are being produced. Serral has been on 38 drones for a very, very long time, and there's no layer yet either, no evo chamber. Now finally these drones start, but I think Trap is going to be pretty happy with this. The annoying thing is that if you're doing these pushes, sometimes Zergs manage to sprinkle in 2 or 3 drones here and there, and then at the end of this push you're just down 4 or 5 workers. But now Trap actually was up 4 workers, and Serral is going to have to overcome that by just building a bunch of drones right now. In a big wave most likely. We see Evo Chamber, layer coming down as well. These 4 are not going to be cancelled. They're going to be going for a couple of drone kills and then most likely be picked up, is what I thought would happen, but instead we actually see him just sacrifice them. I mean, 4 adepts at this point for 7 drones, honestly not that bad, because adepts tend to kind of lose their... they don't scale very well into a longer game, especially once banelings hit the field, but even against bigger roach or ravager counts, their limited range really does not allow them to scale that well into a later game, or a later phase of the game. Maybe even the mid game, I would say they're not that great there. A couple of Banes do kind of destroy them, so harassing with them is always a good option, of course. Now 2 adepts are shooting across the map. Probably gonna try a similar trick, right, where he shades in, tries to kill 1 or 2 drones, pick up. Last time that didn't really work out as well. Now a couple of links coming in, swap control by Serral. If Trap was paying attention here, which he wasn't, he probably could have caught 10-12 links there with some decent force fields. Luckily for Serral, Trap was a little bit asleep. And Serral is gonna go for a probe line. Maybe trying to pick up some reinforcements here. Not enough links for that. Here come the 2 adepts. Trying to do a little bit of damage. Get 4 workers and pick up 1 still. It's not bad. And this is very cool because Trap is actually forcing a lot of Serral's units to move to that frontal position. And also these queens, they want to be redoing that creep. But the queens also want to be here to make sure that trick with the prism doesn't happen again. So really just splitting the attention of Serral and also the queen attention, basically. I mean, there's 5 queens total, 1 per base, and then you have 2 roaming queens that are for creep threat and denying this type of prism play. Right now here we have the same Zergling still, I feel like. Off of 66 drones are trying to figure out what's happening. Oh my god, they're getting into the main base. Scout the Robo Bay immediately. We'll not see a second Robo, but there's no battery in the main base. This is dangerous. +1 is not finished yet. That is a big help for Trap. If +1 was done here, I'd be fearing for the life of many of these probes. But now with a probe pool, with a battery, he's gonna lose 4 or 5 workers, but he shouldn't lose that much more. 2 adepts coming in to save the day as well, and this Zealot's doing a fine job. 5 more links will run into the main base. Zealot will chase. Meanwhile, we have a big, well, pretty decently sized fight over here. Banelings trying to connect with units that aren't immortals, but really this is a 4 immortal squad and hardly anything else. So yeah, the Banelings are not going to be able to do that too well. A little bit of oversaturation in the main base, some undersaturation at the third. Now seems fine. 62 workers. I guess he's just running out of patches to go to. Definitely needs to start a 4th base relatively soon. Resource lost in favor of Trap, but supply right now in favor of Serral. Now, if we... Ooh. He's actually gonna go for it. Very often in this situation we see Zergs go up to 8 gases, and if you go up to 8 gases you obviously need more drones. So we're talking an 80 drone mass baneling big drone count Serral, but here he stays on 64, and this is... I don't want to call it all in, because there's a +2 upgrade, there is an infestation pit, and there still is something to play off. I mean, he does have a 4th base. This might just be a... I think this was intended as a 4th base breaker, and now Serral is realizing, wait, there's no 4th base. Do I want to engage into this setup? And I'm not sure if the answer here is yes. Big Disruptor Shot is gonna hit a bunch of the Ravager. Super Battery not being activated yet. Where is it? Is there no energy? Okay, here we go. Super Battery being activated. And as long as that doesn't get killed, I mean, Serral can fight if he has a high Baneling count. But without a high Baneling count, I don't think he can. Trap should not try to counterattack here, though. That would definitely be a mistake. Not enough sentries. There's not that much creep, which might help Trap if he wants to push this 5th base, for example, right? This area is kind of easy to control for Trap. There is some possibility for flanks, but honestly not too much. Empty Prism. I wouldn't have minded if he picked up like his Disruptors in the Prism and start harassing with them. Just get Prism speed. Very often we don't see this from Protosses because they're like, well, it's so late in the game, but so what? I mean, if you can still get damage done against Ravagers of Creep, that would be sick. Maybe you can get a Baneling Ball or something like that. Now, of course, a player of Serral's caliber usually doesn't let that happen, but it's free damage. It's not like you're going to lose the Prism as long as it's speed, right? So, yeah, I'm surprised to not see that. Instead, use it as a map vision tool, really. He's trying to spot these two ramps, the entry of these two ramps. Now, Serral, meanwhile, while he was doing that push, maybe slightly after he realized it wasn't going to work, went up to 76 workers, which is closer to that worker count I was thinking about earlier, added a second Evo and started range upgrades for his relatively high Ravager count. I mean, there's 12 Ravagers, that's nothing to laugh at. If you're a Protoss player, you know what I'm saying, because these guys can do a lot of damage. They push out a lot of damage, not only with their bios, but also their auto attack is not that bad. 7 more drones here on the way for Serral, and he starts adding Vipers as well as a Spire. Get an armor upgrade. This is odd to see. Usually we almost always see shield upgrades or +3 attack. A lot of this damage output from this army is going to be coming from some very big units. The Colossi, the Disruptor. And Viper is the counter to all. Viper is the counter to all. Very high Baneling count as well here. Force fields are going to be of the essence. Is this a Baneling run by? No, this is Pureling. These should be turned into Banelings and try some type of run by. I mean, +2 melee is done. I don't understand why Serral is not trying to set anything up there. There we go. No. 14 Banelings are being morphed at home. Here comes the flank. Now, if you ever play Colossi, you should know that flanks are always being set up. Oh my god. Serral was paying more attention than Trap there. Trap almost lost his stuff. 194 supply against 197. And at this point, this is where the Baneling becomes so useful. Because you look at this army and it's like, oh, it's good because he has a lot of Banelings, but if he adds more Banelings, it kind of feels like cheating, you know? He's not using more supply and he's just upgrading his units. And Toss is looking at his army. He's like, well, I wouldn't mind having a couple of Templar or maybe a couple of Archons. And he needs to kill his own units for that. He isn't really building. He's just replacing with better units. And Cirque probably wouldn't mind another Viper or another 2 Vipers. But ooh, I think he can probably pull a Disruptor or something in here. Oh, Serral. Oh my god, this is going to be a crazy engagement. Not a single force field going now. What a terrible engagement for Trap. Loses all of his Disruptors before they do anything. Double pulls on those Colossi as well. Baneling still moving for... I mean, this is... Is this it? Is this it? I think it might be. What an absolutely awful engagement here coming out. Trap losing so many gas units for free. No force fields went down that entire fight. These are the first 2 that... Well, there was a couple here to try and defend his retreat. What was that blink for? It is unbelievable. This is not how you want to play. I mean, I understand that Trap is desperate at this point, but that definitely was not it. 4 Stalkers get picked up. There's still a good Immortal count, which they do help against these Ravagers, but there's so many Lynxes on. The Colossi are not dealing with them. DTs are being warped in, but there is an Overseer. Oi, 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 oi. Trap. What a terrible fight for you. Templar Archives is going down, so he's looking into going into those storms and maybe cheaper Archons, but I'm having a difficult time seeing this work out for him, honestly. 41 more Banelings on the way. The Serral Classic, +3 on melee, +2 Carapace. And we have Air Flyers attack as well. This 5th base is probably completely gone, so look at that. Adrenal Glands, +2 Link. going ham on that base. And Serral is like, well, you're probably coming here to defend your base. Guess what? My army is here as well. Rolls forward with those banelings. Force fields not going to be used. Sentry dies. There's a single force field remaining, but the banelings are already here. It is too late. I mean, this is just going to be it, right? Every single worker is going to go down here. 17 workers, 82 supply against 182. And I think Serral is just really not dead at this point. Oh. Good pick up there by Trap. I mean, Trap is pretty much dead at this point. Serral wins the game and gets the 1-0 on the scoreboard. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, in the top left, spawning as the red pros player is going to be Trap down 1-0 against the man who built about 200 banelings in that last game. It is, of course, Serral. Right now, doesn't have anything building from these larvae. Oh, went to the wrong side. There's a spawning pool over here as well. Kind of interesting. Kind of interesting. Now, how does Trap respond here? That's a real question, of course. He's gonna go for a hatchery block. This actually is the second best scenario. Really, there's two scenarios which make you win or give you a decent position against the 12 pool. The best scenario is a gateway scout. This is rather unpopular because it's only economically slightly worse, or slightly better, sorry, than a pylon scout hatch block, and you don't get to block the hatchery. And then the second thing, obviously, is the hatch block. This is a little bit less good because very often with the hatch block, you just are lacking a bit of money. This is a massive error. He should be blocking this 100%. If he does not get the block off, that is an extremely big deal. Yeah, okay, that was very, very important. I cannot stress that enough. Ideally, you even build the pylon a little bit later, so you don't have to cancel it as fast just because of that time. So you want to force these Zerglings to stay at home as long as possible. Okay, so the reason you want to keep these Zerglings at home is so you can get a Zealot out without chrono boosting it. A single Zealot could be enough in this case. You can also go for double Zealot, but I actually think single Zealot is better. You can pull 4 or 5 workers with it, and look at that timing. It definitely would have been in time. You still see that chrono boost actually wasn't all that helpful. And that only he wasn't controlling that. He pretended to control that. He still pulls workers, plays 2 gate, 2 Zealot. This is a very, very weird. He gets in. Well, second Zealot is out. I mean, the probe should not be here anymore. This is... I don't think this was a great defense, honestly. I wish it was different, but I don't think this is a great defense. The one thing he does have is a lot of counter pressure. And if I was Serral, I'd be kind of afraid of that, honestly. I mean, 4 gate units, that is nothing to scoff at. He's gonna have, what, 1, 2 queens? 7 links? I mean, speed is light years away, right? Probe should be in the wall here. Build either a core or a gateway. Pylon. It's not gonna last that long, really. Ideally, you have a gateway, 46 seconds of blocking, and can cancel it at the last moment. He should not forget to cancel this pylon. If he forgets to cancel, that would be pretty painful. He actually went home with the adepts. Yeah, it's a big deal. Yeah, it's a single link, man. All of his pressure just... It's not worthless because he forced a lot of links. Don't get me wrong here. Okay, 12 links, that's a lot of links, but... You kind of lose your window now to do something. You're gifting your opponent free creep strat. It's hard to say how good this was for anyone. I think it's still going to depend a bit how much we're going to see these Zealots and Adepts do. Maybe we can still see some damage. Don't forget that Adepts have this special ability that allows them to be in 2 places at the same time. Which means these links can't always be in the fight. I just don't think there's... Yeah, the DPS of 3 queens is just simply too high. And they're too tanky. They're too tanky. There's a lot of creep. There's a lot of vision. Yeah. This gets pushed back. No third base coming up yet for Trap. Excuse me, for Serral. I misspoke a lot already. He's gonna be going up to 4 adepts, and he knows he still has some kind of a window, as long as speed isn't done at least. He probably does have a window. He was looking for a cancel on that third base. He's not going to get it because he went to the wrong side. But this is relatively scary here for Serral. Okay. He doesn't dare to commit. He does not dare to commit. Do we respect that? Metabolic boost being this close. Yeah, he wants to go for this third base. If he would have guessed correctly on the location of the third base, he definitely would have gotten it. That would have been a pretty big deal. But now, with metabolic boost being done, these links can be in 2 locations at the same time as well, practically. You see how he's hiding his links? He wants him to finish that shade, and he gets him to finish the shade. This is gonna cost Serral 3, 4 drones. 5 drones is actually not a terrible haul. Obviously, we'd rather still have the adepts alive, but I think he can kind of live with that. The 2 zealots stay alive, third base going down. I don't mind this position too much for trap here. There is some counter-aggression here coming out of Serral, but Oracle stays at home. 2 zealots are here. What's in the wall? Stalker. Oddly positioned. Lots of area of attack there. You can... Jeez. That's a big F2 action or what? Adapt, adapt. Do we have a Robo coming down yet? No Robo. Another Oracle. So triple Oracle coming out of stats here. A trap. Man, the names are difficult for me today. What are we gonna see after this? I'm curious. It's gonna be Forge in the Twilight for now. We see a Roach Warren as well as an Evo Chamber coming out of Serral. That Roach Warren was so quickly timed that I thought we might see like a Queen attack, especially with the positioning of this third base, right? It's so close. So you just walk either through the middle over here. So fast, a lot faster than from here. You just have a lot of natural creep threat around that hatchery. Now 3 queens are in position, only a single queen in position in the main base. The 1 Oracle is already relatively weak. Here we go, no targeting with the Spore on that weak Oracle. Now there it is. It's gonna end up losing a single Oracle here, but also kill a queen. Are we happy with the loot that we get here as a Protoss player? He killed what? Wait, I can't actually see how many workers he just killed. I think he killed like maybe 2 workers and a queen. I feel like if he takes less damage initially from these 3 queens over here, this fight goes very, very differently, and Serral's gonna actually be in a pretty rough spot. Trap's gonna follow this up with Blink +1. Robotics facility. 2 extra gateway. So it's gonna be 6 gate Blink. Now this is a build that has actually been called one of the worst builds ever played. But the triple Oracle start, and Serral, I don't think he's actually aware. He should be aware of it now. Stalker Sentry. So the moment you see this as Serral, right? What you do is you just get a bunch of units. You stay on 65, 66. This is a good shape. Holy crap, this isn't in. Where did these guys come from? They just burrowed or something. I didn't see them at all. They're forcing an entire army of Serral back, and you're actually gonna get 5-6 workers. And this is with a style where as Serral, you don't actually want to build more workers. Once you play against this, you basically want to stay on 66, push back this push, and then try to get to 75, 80 workers while on 4 bases. Those adepts were extremely useful. 7 overlords, big supply block out of Serral. He wants to be building units at this point. So it's not the biggest of deal. He actually gets a couple more drones. 4 Ravagers, 4 extra Roaches as well. These Oracles are all still alive, but completely in the red. +1 has finished already for Trap. And we don't have any upgrades yet for Serral. That will change once this +1 ranged or missile attacks finishes up. I mean, the thing is, this is a 4th breaker army. This is not a 3rd breaker army. And I don't think Trap is gonna push, and I don't think he's gonna take a 4th within the next 30 seconds. So in that case, we'd rather have more workers if our name is Serral, right? We'd rather went up to 80, 85. 82 maybe, 85 is pushing it. So it's 3 extra workers and make a difference. He should not be capable of getting a fight here. I mean, Oracles, if you have triple Oracle alive, Ravagers, unless they're accompanied by Queens, are never an issue. But you can really only do these type of Queen walks when you have a very powerful army. Because imagine you... Almost got him. Imagine you move out with like 6 Queens. All your bases are going to be undefended against Oracles. So you can do some counter damage on drones. Yeah, you can't really go in here being trapped. He's going to play single Robo Fort base, which he takes now. Now this is ideal for trap as well, because he just realized he kind of pushed back this this Ravager squad. And he's like, okay, I think you're going to drone up now. And he calls it correctly. Takes a Fort base. His Colossi count is... Yikes. You know, single Colossi. Just popping. There's no way this works, right? There's no way you can walk on the map like this. Is there Bailing speed yet? There is Bailing speed. There's no Bailings yet. There's actually not that much gas either, but... This has to just be for creep denial. I can't see this work. Has a couple of units at home. Does he have charge? Yeah, charge on the way. Thermal lens. We see the split off coming from Serral. So predictable, right? This is what Zerg wants to do. Either try to pick off reinforcements or see if there's an extra base that can be taken out. Yeah, this push was just to deny the new creep tumors. Serral, of course, quick enough at rebuilding them. Oracles fly to that Fort base now. There's one thing that worries me a little bit, is that this hive is slightly late. Which also means the Vipers are going to be slightly late. And Vipers are a key to solving this difficult problem of Colossi. Either that or very high Baneling counts, but I feel like we're not really looking at very high Baneling counts right now. Also poor upgrades, don't forget that. +2 melee just now starting, 1-1 is done, but the main damage usually really comes from those melee units. What? Mutalisk. This is a very surprising decision to me. That's a lot of gas that should have been in Baneling. Like, the Baneling count is going to be non-existent right now. Which means Colossi are going to have a great time against this Link count. You can't really harass with the Mutas either. I mean, there's Blink Stalkers, there's cannons everywhere. Was it a misclick? Yeah, Serral's getting a decent fight out of this, but now the Banelings have disappeared. I mean... Yeah, the Oracles are just gonna go ham, blink forward. I think Trap might actually be doing this. 38 links are in production. 2 Colossi in the back are pushing out a lot of consistent damage. The Mutas come in, another blink for GG. It's these 8 Mutas, I don't understand. It's 800 gas that should have been invested in Banelings. What a mistake by Serral, uncharacteristic to get these late Mutalisk against someone that's on Blink Stalkers with +2. Cannons ever? I don't understand what they were for. I just don't know. Alright, well that does give us a game number 3 in this best of 3, so I'm not too upset. But very, very surprising. Alright. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the final game of this series. Top left spawning as the Red Protoss player. Scouting very rapidly. He managed to defend the 12 pool last game, but didn't go too smooth. Still, that Muta call is just... It's such a weird call to me. But yeah, sorry, it's Trap. I forgot to say his name. And the bottom right, of course, we have Serral. Yeah, that Muta call, if you think about what that does, it takes away all the gas that he was saving this entire time, either for Viper or Baneling, in my opinion, right? You see these pushes, you go like, okay, I either want to get to Viper, so I can pull these Colossi into my Ravagers pre-fight, or I want to get so many Banelings that, in combination with a flank, perhaps I can just straight up win a fight. But instead what happens, you get these 8 Mutas, which can't even participate in the fight, and are basically an anti-harass squad that cost 800 gas. They could just build 2 spines as well. They killed some zealots that were harassing one of the top bases, or send your links there. I mean, with +2 melee, that should be fine. It's such a weird... I don't understand it. I think Serral is regretting that move. And he should. I mean, it's not a good move. I just don't understand it. I think it's a misclick, or... Well, he built 8. That's a real number that you get, you know? It's just... Yeah, it's very, very odd to me. I never really see this. Okay. We're seeing a 16 pool, I think this was. And the thing with a 16 pool is that the theory on this is pretty clear on how to defend this. The theory on how to defend a 16 pool is you build a core before Nexus. You build these 2 buildings next to each other. Get your second pylon over here. Once core finishes, you start your adapt. And then as your opponent starts arriving, you can either build a core to fully wall off temporarily or build a second pylon. This is not what Trap did. Trap plays single Zealot and a Pro Pool. You're not supposed to lose workers to this. I'm 100% sure on that. I actually think... Okay, this is awful. What a terrible defense here for Trap. Oh my god. Serral's giggling in Finland right now. I killed 4 probes. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know, guys. What the heck is going on here? Like that last game, I also didn't like his early pool defense too much. But I feel like the theory on this one is pretty clear. What the best thing is, and it's not a Zealot. Perhaps 16 pool isn't as popular in Korea, so he didn't have a refresher on this in quite some time. He's gonna play Stalker, Sentry, Robotics Facility, straight battery as well. He's afraid of a Roach push here. I think last season or another time they played, Serral actually Roach all in them after a 16 pool. So we see these mind games at work right here through multiple series. Now 2 workers go down against a single Adept. It's okay. No one's gonna be sad about it. No one's gonna be too happy about it either. I think Serral's like, nice, the Adept is gone, and Trap is like, well, my Adept is dead, but at least I got 2 workers. Gets a Prism. So even though the worker count looks relatively equal, and you can be like, well, why are you nitpicking so hard? This is just not the good scenario here for Trap, right? He has no map vision or no map control. He can't really get any damage done, and Serral can just kind of drone up freely for a very, very, very long time. And with full vision on this 3rd base, probably should have some vision here as well. He's gonna send in this Overlord. I wouldn't mind if he just uses it to check gases rather than actually going in all the way. That's exactly what he did. Now the brilliance of this is the moment you don't see any extra gases, you don't need to drone up very much past 44, 45. I think he might actually quit droning earlier. Let's go into a 2nd gas. Okay, he's gonna get 1 more drone, so just going to go to 40. You see the gas. 3rd gas here, only on the top side. 4's going down as well. Now Serral comes, and the moment he sees this, he's gonna drone like a madman. Just have a look at this production tab. Layer goes down, and the next rounds should be drones exclusively. Hello? Serral? 2 extra roaches. He's still afraid. I'm not sure what he's afraid of though. He's getting a lot of Overlords. He wants to always have supply ready in case he needs to build these roaches, but I guess you can't hard read into a gas like that. But I feel like he almost can. There's so many sentries as well. I don't know. I really wouldn't mind if he went up to 52, 53 workers. Of course, I have full vision. Oh, it's actually gonna get a sentry for free. Nice little move there by Serral. Very, very cute pickoff. His +1 starts on his range. I don't mind that on his range. I really don't mind that on his range. What I would like to see against this composition is to see a Baneling Nest being thrown down. Because this type of play by Trap usually revolves around 2 to 3 Archons with 2 to 3 Immortals. And then a lot of Zealots, and almost all the reinforcements are going to be Zealots because you're just working off of 4 gas. High Zealot counts tend to be weak against indeed Banelings. Attempted surround, well, probably not an attempt surround, probably did surround that Immortal, but an attempted assassination that didn't quite work out. Prism is not gonna die here. 56 workers for Serral. We have 2 Adept shading into, this was the 3rd base, right? Yeah, 62 workers for Serral. I think at this point does have the worker count where we can be saying things like, well, perhaps we don't need to go too hard on workers no more. Perhaps we're fine here. I think Serral's getting tricked by the fact that there's still worker production. So you can still see on a Nexus when it's producing workers. You see here, this white thing isn't moving anymore. And now once it starts up again, you see the white thing going up again and again. And Serral was looking out for that. He saw, hey, wait a second, what is this? You were building workers, and let me just go up a couple of drones then. If you're doing it, I can do it as well. I'm actually surprised that this is not a 6 or an 8 gate push I really thought this... Oh, let him slip through. I really thought it was going to be a 6 or 8 gate push here. I'm surprised. Double Evo also surprises me. And we see more drones on the way. In my opinion, there's no need to get more drones than 66. Unless you see these gases go down as Serral at this point. Let's see what he decides to do. Does he agree with me? We see a changeling moving towards a dark area on the map for him, trying to figure out, hey, is there maybe a fort base going up there? Is maybe something happening? What's in here? Immortals? 2 Immortals. Maybe just trying to deny a little bit of creep, right? Sniping a Roachy here or there. It's all possible. It's all viable. Gonna get a tumor. Picks up. Good stuff, good stuff. 3 gates here for the full wall. Templar Archives. Storm plus force field. Now this is a classic combination, as we see tunneling claws as well as burrow being researched here for Serral. Huh. Interesting indeed, no? Tunneling claws is something we don't see a lot. Now it has a lot of counterattack potential, and if your opponent doesn't spot that you have the tunneling claws, it can be very good. Of course, the skin of the roach does change once tunneling claws finishes. I'll try to point out the moment if we're not in the middle of a fight. Overlord speed is done. Overseer comes in, tries to get some info on what's going down, sees this, and it's like, huh, Storm, that's interesting. He probably expected Colossi. It's not going to change much in his composition, though. I mean, he's going to stay on Ravager Lingbane. Gets an Observer with a single hit. Now have a look at the skin change here with these tunneling claws roaches. Hop! You see, way bluer, very fluorescent. Spikies appear on the head. In the color of the player's color. Usually they're just black. DT's tried to get some damage done, get a couple of drones. It's not the biggest of deals. The problem here for Trap is that he has a very small army and there's a crap ton of creep. So him attacking before we're looking at hive upgrades here for Serral is unlikely. I think Serral actually is hungry for a fight. Oh, this is a distraction. This is nothing but distraction. He has a changeling here that he can even move into the wall. Let's see if he ends up doing that. So right now he just wants to force his army away. If he moves this changeling into the wall, that would be the ultimate play. Oh, the rookie. That changeling should have been in the wall. Oh my god. It's the 1-2 punch combo. There's no +2 yet on these melee units, but it doesn't matter. 23 workers do go down. I think this might have been a DT over here. I missed that, or only caught the tail end of that. Drones are being pulled even further, and there's Immortals here chasing, but these guys are gonna get 5-6 more workers here, and they've already done their job. They were... Oh my god, are you joking? Are you joking? They were actually just a distraction. If they walk out here, that would be... slightly upsetting, I think, for Trap. Oh no, it's gonna get 1. No, just a single Templar for now. The army of Serral is looking so freaking scary here. There's no wall remaining. What's the Baneling count? 24 Banelings. Hive upgrades coming in with Adrenal Glands. It wouldn't surprise me if we see some type of hive structure coming down soon as well. Maybe it's not even necessary though. Roach is taking out the fort base. The rest of Serral's army is taking out everything else on the map. There's still a bunch of Immortals remaining, walking in the rain of vials. Oh my god, the tunneling claw roaches are at it again. And I think this is looking very, very bad right now for Trap, who is struggling to keep his fort base alive, struggling to keep his probes alive in his natural. 46 workers against 81. Serral chilling on 5 bases, while Trap is stressing on 2.5. If there even is a half, I think it might just be 2.5. We can give it to him. I mean, the next engagement Serral takes is what, 25, 26 Banelings. 9 more on the way. He could wait for +2 melee, but doesn't give a crap. He wants to hit before there's too many extra storms. No. Goes back now. It's like, yeah, a couple more Banes. And now if you move away too far, as soon with that +2, I'm definitely going to be able to snipe your probe as well. So Archons go down before the pickup. Of course, you can't pick up Archons while they're still morphing. Immortal Fall. Storm's mediocre. Banelings are running in. +2 not quite done yet, but I just don't think it's going to matter here. Lings ran into the natural base. 77 supply against 163. As this has to be the final stand here coming out of the trap. Taking out a little bit of creep. Having to use DTs to clean up 6-7 Lings. That is the end of it all. Burrowed Ling at the 4th base. Nothing here yet. Wouldn't surprise to see a Burrowed Ling there fast or soon as well. Serral's just gonna spot it. It's like, yeah, never mind. There's no 4th base here. Oh, not again. Another Ling run by into this base. This is gonna be 2 Zealots are gonna die very rapidly against these Lings with superior upgrades. Banelings are bumping into the Immortals. GG gets called, and Serral wins the series 2-1. Now, if you did enjoy this series, don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'll be going back fully on it, making sure that we get at least 4 videos a week. Sorry for the last few weeks, but we're back right now, and we're here to stay. Thanks all for watching, and bye-bye.